Well, Thanksgiving is just days away and travel is expected to break records across the country. Following a successful October, Midland International Airport prepares for more passengers. Our Joey Gonzalez has the story.
Last month, the Midland International Airport reported a 12.68% increase from October 2023. In addition to the increased transportation, airport officials stated the revenue increased by over 5%. Following a successful start to the fiscal year, Deputy Director for the City of Midland Department of Airports, Nick Krakovic, explained how the airport has continued to thrive year in and year out.
Last year was the busiest year as far as enplanements go in the airport's history. We averaged just under 5% growth the last 2 years, so the goal is to continue to do that here at the airport and to work on providing some improvements for the traveling public, whether that's infrastructure or some of the services that can be offered. So it was great that we had another good year last year, and we look forward to trying to, again, top it this year.
Less than a month ago, flight purchases were steadily decreasing due to a lack of consumer confidence. However, as the government shutdown has concluded, Krakovic mentions the airport has resumed operating as usual.
Thankfully, with the current situation with them being funded again, we're not anticipating any shortages during the Thanksgiving season. We did also add a few months ago the third lane to the TSA checkpoint, which has helped reduce congestion by almost 40% for wait times. That is also going to help a lot during the Thanksgiving travel. Again, we still recommend, even with the third lane, arriving a little bit earlier in case there is a longer line. But we do not anticipate any issues with the staffing of our federal partners, which would be TSA or air traffic controllers.
With confidence restored in airports across the country, Midland officials say they are prepared for one of the busiest travel weeks of the year.
This week will be one of the peak weeks for people traveling out of the airport as far as the months go. We actually can see the Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays compete with summer break just because you have more people traveling throughout the entirety of the summer. Typically, this week is usually the busiest single week for not just our airport, but most airports due to the amount of people traveling in such a condensed time frame. But we anticipate, this week probably to be one of the higher weeks that the airport's had in terms of a, 5-day stretch.
For those who are preparing to head to the airport this week, it is important to keep in mind a few tips when walking into the terminal.
One of the other things to keep in mind is we now have the real ID requirements for TSA. So making sure that your state ID, if it's what you're going to use for your form of ID, is real ID compliant. If it's not real ID compliant, again, arriving a little early will help because there's extra steps that have to now be done in order to get through the TSA checkpoint. The other thing with Thanksgiving is people are typically traveling with food. If you're going to take food on your carry-on, please be mindful of TSA's liquid requirements for liquid gels or aerosols. Basically, if it's a food item that you can spill, spread, or spray, it needs to be under the 3.4 liquid ounces. TSA on their website has more information for solid foods, liquid or gel foods, along with the real ID requirements. So if that is something that might impact you on your travel, that is something you want to look into before you arrive at the airport.
If you're traveling this holiday season, make sure to check your travel status, including your departure time and the weather for your destination. Reporting from the Midland International Air and Spaceport, I'm Joey Gonzalez.